What's up, everyone, and welcome back to TRL Technical Request Live. I'm your host, Dustin, and this pro sitting next to me is Manny. This is the only stream coming to you nightly where we tear down the confusion and build up your knowledge by answering your questions live.
For the next hour, your questions are the mission, whether you're an expert builder and looking for advice on which GPU to upgrade to, or you are just starting out and want to tackle your very first build, we are here for you. This is a weeknight tradition every Monday through Friday starting at 9 p.m. Central. Let's take a moment to cover how the next hour will go. Drop your question in the chat right now as we are just getting going. Any question that is most relevant, we will do our best to answer. As we grow, we will start targeting more questions to the daily focus. Hit that like button. It helps more people find the stream. And if you're new, subscribe to the channel. You will not want to miss an episode.
That's right. And at the end of this episode, we'll spotlight a fantastic gaming PC from our sponsor, glitchon.com. If you're interested in this specific PC or one like it, glitchon.com can help you find the best solution for your PC needs. All right, it's time to watch that chat light up. TRL is officially live. Oh, Manny, what a day, man. It's been crazy. Crazy. You know what day it is? Do you know what day it is? Besides being hump day, do you know what day it is? It's hump day, but it's also... It's
Wednesday.
It's Wednesday, that's right. That's right. So when we take a look at this, Wednesday is Will It Work Wednesday. So guys, light up that chat, and if you're watching this after, no worries. Put some comments in the section below, right? Drop your comments of what it is that you're wanting to know. Maybe you've got a question about an old PC and you're trying to see if it'll work with some upgrades. Maybe you're looking at doing a new build and you're not sure which one to go with. That's what we're here today to do. So we're going to answer some questions live and kind of talk about, will it work? Manny, it looks like we've got some questions there in the chat coming in. Let's see what we've got, man. We're going to jump right into this. Oh, man. Anything stand out to you?
Tons of questions. Let's see.
Yep. You know what? Oh yeah, go ahead. What'd you see?
Here we go. Oh, so this one's actually one that I get pretty often. Will it work if I install DDR5 RAM into a motherboard assigned only for DDR4 RAM?
Yes, all right. This one's pretty simple, I think. I think I got the answer to this, but let's kind of see. So, will DDR5, is it DDR5 fit into DDR4?
Correct, yeah.
All right,
DDR4 motherboard.
Right. I already know the answer. I think we're gonna see if Google's right? It's not always right, but let's take a look and see. So, yes, there we go. So there's the answer for you. It will not work. So if you've got an older computer, right, you've got some DDR4 RAM in there, and you're thinking, I know what, I've only got one stick, it's 8 gigs. You want to upgrade, right? Maybe you're thinking go big bad boy and you want 32 or 64, and you're going to go higher clock speed, so you want that DDR5 RAM. Unfortunately, it's not going to work. Manny, in order to upgrade RAM, what would we need to do in this situation?
So in this situation, if you are just stuck on going DDR5, at that point, really the only option will be to upgrade your motherboard. Again, fortunately, if motherboards are not super expensive, I mean, you can find some easily for $120, $160. But if you were to go that route of upgrading to DDR5, which is kind of the latest in technology at the moment, get those better performance speeds, you would need to upgrade your motherboard.
Yeah. And one thing as we kind of look into, this is the future of the RAM sticks right now, is DDR5. For the longest time, we built PCs so many times, right? And we probably dealt with DDR4 for years. That's what you and I kind of do on most of our PC builds, other than here lately we've been getting into the new ones, DDR5. One thing that I've seen though is most commonly, if you've got DDR4, you've probably got an older CPU as well, right? You've got maybe a Ryzen 5, 3600 CPU, or you've got an i5, 10th generation, right? 10400 or something like that. Those are some older CPUs. Now, to Manny's point, sure, I could easily just go buy a new motherboard, few bucks, to shell out to get a new motherboard that would accept DDR5. But because of the fact that DDR5 is new technology, you're not going to be able to use a new motherboard on some of those older chips. Correct, Manny?
Correct.
Yeah. So let's take a look at, as we'll kind of dive a little deeper into that. So let's say I had an i5 for, 10th gen, right? 10th generation. So let's say you've got an i5 10400. I'm going to go ahead and just do that. So 10400. That I think that was a pretty common CPU for a lot of, the cyber power PCs and things like that came out, a few years ago. 6-core processor, right? So pretty decent clock speeds. Base speed wasn't too bad, but when you look at it, this was a very popular chip and motherboard probably combo to be using in those lower end to mid-tier builds because they were pretty cost effective.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, fun enough, this is exactly the same chip that I see in a bunch of cyberpower PCs, specifically i5 10400 F series. It's always the F series.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, the F series. Yeah, they're not unlocked. They're not overclockable. But so it's kind of right. This is where put some comments in the chat if you're watching this afterward and you've had this happen. You've got an older computer and you're looking to do some upgrades, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I needed to upgrade this, and then all of a sudden you realize, crap, I have to upgrade that. Oh wait, that won't work with this other component. This is where the computers kind of get off track, right? Is that upgrade path isn't always just one part. Sometimes it's 3, 4, or 5, and by then you're like, I should have just bought a whole new PC. But to Manny's point, this was a very popular CPU used in a lot of those. Now the motherboard itself would have been an LGA 1200 socket, right? That is the little square box in the middle that holds the CPU. That's your computer chip like form. And your i5 10th gen was the 1200 socket. Okay, so think about this for a second. You've got a cyber power PC, something like that, that you bought, or maybe you bought something from Best Buy, and you're rocking an i5 1400. Okay, so you know what your chip is. You just went to settings on the computer screen. You found out. This is the socket that your motherboard is on. So all you wanted to do was upgrade your RAM, right? You had 8 gigs, 1 stick, GDR4. You wanted to do some extra upgrades. Well, let's take a look. So we know that this motherboard, this LGA 1200 socket motherboard, most of them are not going to be GDR5 compatible, right? So the newer chips, let's say it's i5. I already know the answer to this. I know Manny knows the answer to this, but we're going to take a look at i5 14th gen CPU socket. Manny, what is it?
Trying to squint here a little bit. Looks like a LGA
1700. No? Yeah. 1700, LGA 1700. So that's the newer processor sockets. Now, I think it's like 13, 14 gen, maybe even 12 gen. I can't remember off the top of my head, but this is the new socket. So in the middle of your motherboard, there's that little chip, that little square spot where your CPU goes. Guess what? The newer motherboards that have started to accept GDR5 RAM are not compatible with that CPU that you have. So now, not only are you looking at, I need a new motherboard because it doesn't accept GDR5, but the new motherboard doesn't accept your old CPU either. Right? So this is where that kind of path starts to get down, where you're like, man, is it really worth it to upgrade my computer? Will it work? Right? Will DDR5 RAM work in my DDR5 4 slot, my older computer? And the answer is kind of simply no. Not just for the fact that it physically won't fit, but on some of these older computers, if anybody were to come to me and say, hey, I've got a 4 or 5 year old PC, I want to upgrade to DDR5 RAM, I'm really going to start digging and asking some more questions, right, Manny, to figure out what you're really trying to accomplish, because there's going to be some extra steps here, more than just buying DDR5 RAM and installing it. Clearly, as you can see, there's a lot of different things going on here, and it's not as simple as just popping this.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, even us with the amount of computers that we've built, a lot of times, kind of just bouncing off of your statement, just start asking questions like what are you trying to get out of your PC? Maybe you only have 8 gigabytes of RAM. Maybe you need a little bit more, 16, 32 gigabytes. I mean, a lot of times with the games that customers are trying to play, I mean, you don't even have to upgrade to DDR5 a lot of times. So, kind of as you were saying, you start upgrading one thing, then you start slowly having to upgrade everything else. I mean, kind of that's where our expertise comes in, to where like our suggestions are like, hey, I mean, you can save a whole bunch of money just by just simply upgrade your RAM to 16, 32 gigabytes, but keep it as DDR4. And then, once you get that extra, bonus from work, or something happens, then that's whenever you can just build a whole new PC.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what happens by the time you get there, for sure.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Now, on the flip side, again, now everybody, look, everybody's got their favorites, right? Maybe your team Intel, maybe your team AMD. Doesn't really matter. But here's the cool part that I've kind of noticed about AMD when it comes to their AM5 chips, right? The newer ones. So AM5 chips, they actually started including, they've had AM5 out for what, maybe 2 years now or so. It's been a little while, right, Manny?
A little while, yeah.
And they originally were offering these on motherboards that had DDR4 RAM. Okay, so now if you've got an AM5 Ryzen chip, and you're looking to upgrade to DDR5 RAM, sure, in that case, yes, it may be very possible for you to just go out and upgrade your motherboard and RAM without going much further, right? So, can you install DDR5 RAM, into your DDR4 AM5 motherboard? No, the slots are a little different. And actually, we could even probably kind of show that up here in just a second. But in those terms, if you've got an AM5 chip from Ryzen, you could simply, it's a two-step process. You would need DDR5 RAM, and then you would need to upgrade your motherboard. But that same chip that you have would also fit into some of these AM5 motherboards that are also DDR5 compatible. So, Manny, do you know what the difference is on the RAM sticks? Because they look identical, right? They do. Do you know what the differences are between those? How would I identify that?
Easiest way to identify, kind of without plugging it into the PC and hoping it works, is all of the DDR sticks are going to have on the side a little note that specifically states it's either DDR4 or DDR5, and plus a whole bunch of other little information, but just to kind of keep it simple.
Yeah, that's the easiest way to tell, right? Is they'll have that there. And you know what? This is as even for as long as I have done computers, you know what? I tried it. I didn't realize that they were different. I hadn't done my research, and I was doing a computer upgrade. Actually, I was doing a computer build for a client, and they were like, "Hey, any chance I can get DDR5 RAM?" Look, I had a couple RAM sticks laying around. I'm like, no problem, I got you. Right? Let's I'll up the price a little bit, and we'll jump you into some DDR5 RAM. I went to go stick it in there, and it would not fit. Now I didn't shove it. I know better, right? I know when things don't fit. I'm not gonna.
That's a good thing.
I know better, but it took me a second. I had to look at it, like even side by side. I'm like, really? They look very close. But I wanted to pull up an image here and kind of show. They are very close. Like the notches in the between are so close. I know after dealing with DDR4 for so long, that little notch it's just a little off center. It's not quite perfectly centered. You've got one long side and one short side, on the connector side where it goes in. But the DDR5, it looks to be like square in the middle. And your motherboard is going to have those slots integrated for that. So again, you're not going to be able to fit your new DDR5 physically into that DDR4 slot. It's not about your motherboard not accepting it, software-wise or compatibility. It's simply they physically do not fit into each other's slots in the motherboard, so they are not interchangeable. So to answer the initial question that we were talking about, will it work? No, DDR5 will not fit into DDR4 slots. So yeah, we've got that one pretty well taken care of. Anything else on that one, Manny? Anything else on finish up with that one?
Oh, absolutely. So actually kind of basing off of the upgrade path, if we could go back to the chat here, look at the questions. Let's see. I believe I saw one on there. Will it work if my 650 watt power supply, PSU, has only one 8-pin PCIe connector, but my GeForce, let's just say you have a little bit of a higher end graphics card, RTX 4070, requires two 8-pin connectors?
that. Like that.
There it is.
Has only one 8-pin PCI connector, but my GeForce 47 requires 2. Yep. Will it work? So, I mean, that's I think that's a pretty obvious question, but let's kind of break it down. I don't want to say absolutely. I mean, I think that's a no-brainer, right? You need two 8-pin slots going in, power cords going in. But let's see, where my single. There we go. All right, and we're going to talk a little bit about this, right? So, and again, this is probably something I think that's very common for a lot of people that are wanting to do upgrades. I bought a computer off Facebook, right? I got a really good deal on it because it was an older computer. I'm a tech guy, and I know that I can upgrade this and upgrade that. Maybe you're thinking the same thing. Maybe you're in the same situation, right? You're trying to save a little bit of money. You don't want to go buy something new. No problem. You know what? Maybe your older brother or something is a gamer, and he just upgraded his awesome, streaming PC, and he's going to give you, his hand-me-downs on some of the computer parts, like the graphics card or something. And you need to know, will it work? Is it going to work? Well, Manny, let's take a look at it and see. So if I've got a single 8-pin power connector, it's not going to work. But why not? Why won't it work? What am I missing?
On this one, you're going to be missing another 8-pin connector, which is something that I feel like a lot of people don't know about the newer or more upgraded graphics cards. Is that some of them even ask for 16-pin connectors now, or 2 8-pin connectors. So there's actually kind of, I guess, 3 options here
Yeah, for sure.
to go with.
Yeah. There's quite a bit, and I think the big thing on that is just really matching your power supply to the graphics card. So again, this is another thing that we do get asked pretty commonly when it comes to computers. We get messages all the time saying, hey, I don't need a full computer, I don't need all this, I just want to upgrade my graphics card, what can you do for me? Or, like I said, I've had that story before where they would straight up say, I got a hand-me-down graphics card and I'd love to pop it in my PC, can I do it? First question we ask is what, Manny?
What type of power supply do you have? Does it have those 2 connections?
Yeah, that's it. What kind of power supply do you got, right? We can worry about the rest later, right? We can figure out if your CPU is strong enough to match it, or if you're going to be bottlenecked one way or the other. But in the end, it really is around that power supply. If you don't have the power supply to push that graphics card, it's going to be not just a no, it's going to be a heck no for sure. Like, I'm not going to risk it. And then when you take a look in terms of what Manny was talking about, some of the newer ones, I think I'm going to say that. So 4070, let's do TI power connector. And we'll kind of explain a little bit about what we're talking about here. So, boom. Okay, that's kind of the picture I was looking for. So right there. Okay, so another thing. So these newer graphics cards, right? They're getting so much more powerful that they actually take this. So there is, what was this? So there's 10, I think, plus the 2. There's plenty of additional pins. I don't even know what that's actually called. So I guess 12 volt 2x6. I didn't know the official name for it. I never actually really looked it up. But when you take a look at these, this is what you're going to expect on a lot of the newer, more powerful graphics cards. This isn't even a standard plug that comes with some of these older PCs. You won't have this available on your power supply, right? But Manny, so if let's say that's the case, let's say our viewers have that situation where they got a hand-me-down graphics card, a really solid one. Somebody hooked them up with a 4070 Ti, but they've got an older computer. Maybe not that old, right? Maybe it's the i5 10th gen. It's still pretty decent, right? I think that could handle a 4070 Ti, possibly, right? I think it might be a little overpowered, but still doable. What do we do so we know it won't work with my own power supply? Most likely, what would I need to do in order to make it work?
So in this case, I guess we have quite a few options. First and foremost, though, I would definitely ask what power supply do you have? But secondly, is it modular or is it non-modular? And that will very much tell us if we kind of need to replace the whole power supply, or if we can maybe hopefully make do with what you have right now. Would be the next question for that.
And in terms of the power supply, again, if you've got an older computer, even just 3 or 4 years, it's what Manny said was modular. That's when you've got a newer power supply that's got cables that can be plugged in and out of the back of the power supply, right? Additional spots or anything like that. If you don't have anything like that, which generic PCs, ones you find at Best Buy, even starting 2-3 years ago and older, your cyber power PCs and other ones like that, most likely you're not gonna have a modular power supply in. They're much more expensive in the cost. So most of those manufacturers would not have pre-installed a modular power supply in there, which would have given you the ability to have additional slots and add more. Also, again, what we were just talking about on that 4070 Ti, right? It requires this additional power cord or connector, which is this guy right here, right? And this actually takes your 2 8-pin connectors and converts it into, whatever the other end on this one was. I can't remember what they label it as, but then this is what goes into that socket on your 4070 Ti. Now, if you buy a 4070 Ti brand new, this generally comes with it. Most of your newer graphics cards, if that's what it takes, it will include this. I think I had what was it? Manny, which graphics cards have you installed where it had 3 of them? 3 8-pin connectors coming out of that bad boy.
3 of them. Gosh, I believe
Anything you can remember lately?
Lately it was it's a beefy graphics card, probably like a 4080.
4080. Okay, I want to see. Let's take a look. 4080.
Kind of what I'm thinking.
3 times 8 pin. Oh yeah, let's take a look and see that. Okay. Oh yeah, boom. I mean, right? Very possible. Very possible that's the one. There's another one there. Yeah, there's all sorts of different ones. Yeah, and there's a pretty good example right there. Yeah, I think I had a 3090 that I was working on, and it was a different one. I know some. Look, just because it's a 3090 or a 4080 doesn't mean it's gonna have this 3-pin or 3-plug adapter. Doesn't mean it's gonna have a 2-plug adapter. Every GPU is different, even by the same manufacturer. But when you've got a bigger one, generally your 80 series or 90 series, and they're pushing power, you're gonna come across something like this. So again, this all goes back to answering that question of, will it work? I've got an older computer, and if I've only got one 8-pin plug coming in, am I going to be able to push enough power to power these graphics cards? The answer is no. So to Manny's point, you've got options, right? We can first power supply upgrade, right? So you just go buy a bigger power supply, a much newer one. Or we take a look and see if you have a modular power supply. By chance, again, if you bought it off of Facebook, there's a chance the person you bought it from actually may have installed a modular power supply. And what that looks like is going to be more like this. The back of your power supply has all of these extra ports, and what you're looking for is these right here, where you've got extra plugs for those, and you can find spare cables or purchase them online and get those there. So if you're looking for a new power supply or modular power supply, or even some of these adapter cables that we've been kind of talking about, look, we've got affiliate links underneath the video down below. Take a look at them for us. If you go through there, it really helps us out. We appreciate it. There's some really good deals going right now online. Whether again you're looking for an adapter or a new power supply, we really appreciate it. It helps support the channel and us here as well. So, Manny, anything else on power supply? Anything else on updating?
So one actually really big thing that so if you are going to go that route of potentially purchasing a separate cable to connect to your graphics card, one main thing that I do want to precaution on that is just make sure it's one from the same brand, and 2 that it can handle the voltage. Because if you have 2 separate cables going into that graphics card at different voltage, you can do some serious damage to your graphics card, which that is something that you do not want. So I guess pertaining to today's topic of will it work, definitely make sure that it is that.
Yes, very good call. A couple things. So number one, they are not interchangeable. As a PC builder, Manny, I don't know. Just out of curiosity, how did you figure that out? Did you find out the hard way, or did you do some research first?
I did some research, and
Smart
I
man.
did have one of my friends find out the hard way. So kind of, I guess, a
Was it?
secondhand experience.
Yeah, yeah. I know you were talking about somebody else, but I'm also pointing to this guy. Like, you know what, man? I was in a pinch, Manny. I was in a pinch. I had a PC completely done. I had a modular power supply installed, ready to go. Right. So it was a request from the customer. Had it all done, ready to go. Last minute decision. They decided to upgrade their GPU, and they wanted something more powerful. And no problem, right? Because that one had all the extra power supply cables that came with it, no problem. Then he wanted to add in some, I can't remember what it was. I think it was an extra storage drive. But he wanted just an SSD, something a little less expensive, but a bigger SSD on the back for backup, right? Well, the same thing. Your cables that plug into those modular power supplies are not interchangeable, especially when it comes from one manufacturer to the other. They may fit in there, and they may have the same amount of cables, like, right? You've got 4 cables coming out, or you've got 6 cables coming out, all into one adapter, one plug. And that plug may even fit into the back of that SSD, or into the back of, or into your graphics card. That doesn't mean that's going to work. And I found out the hard way very quickly that they are not interchangeable. Plugged it in, powered it on, smoke. I'm not even kidding you. Smoke from the power supply and from the SSD drive. It fried the drive. I think we talked about that on a previous episode, right? Where I fried some drive. That was one of the times I fried the drive. But of course, I had to figure out why. I had to know why. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
If it fit, why not? When I unplugged it and took a look, okay, there's 6 pins, six holes coming out of that port. But as I took a look, only 5 of them had cables coming through, and then on the other because I finally officially got the real one, the right one that I needed to. And of course, I had to replace the power supply as well. But then I took a look at that cable that was kind of melted that I had fried a little bit. As I took a look at them, hey, yes, it plugged in, but the pins coming in were actually in different positions. So it was pretty crazy. It was pretty crazy, man. One of the scarier moments of my PC building career, for sure. It's pretty shocking. But will it work? No, it will not. So please do not try to take a cable from a Corsair power supply and try to apply it to an MSI or any other power supplies. They may fit, but they are drastically different and not always interchangeable. So just on the cautious side on that.
That's a great story to connect it to if anyone does plan on doing that.
Yeah, please don't. So, all right. So we've got some other things. We've had a couple no's on Will It Work today. Let's see what else we got here.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the chat. What other questions are there?
Actually,
I wonder if we can find one that we can answer yes to.
let's see. Okay, so this one actually, question for you. It's I don't see it in the chat, but I do get a ton of questions on this one. So can I plug in my HDMI or DisplayPort, whichever one you use, into my graphics card or into my motherboard?
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, so I think I know the answer to this one, but let's see what Google says, right? Let's see what it's. I'm always curious to see what the generic answer that Google and AI has to put together. So let's see here. Let's see. Will my PC work if I plug in my HDMI to my motherboard versus my GPU? Let's see what it says. All right, here we go. Oh, look at that. That's pretty funny. The generic answer is yes. The PC will likely work if you plug an HDMI in your motherboard, but you should always plug it in your GPU. Okay, that's interesting. If you have proper performance, the motherboard port uses the CPU integrated graphics card. Okay, boom. I think that's the key right there, right, Manny? So, all right. So I knew the answer, and I was kind of curious to see what did you think about the answer that Google gave for this?
So on this one's pretty much as as expected for Google, because I mean, honestly, they both work, whether you
Okay.
plug it into the motherboard or the graphics card.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, but here's the thing, though, right? And I think that this kind of goes back to, what it said specifically here is, it really is all about if you've got a dedicated, if you've got, the ability on your CPU for graphics, because
Yeah.
again, if you plug into the motherboard and your CPU doesn't have, an internal or built-in graphics supply for it, then you won't get any display. But the funny part about it, so the AI generic answer says yes, but then of course when I go to the images, Manny, look at that. No, don't do it. No, don't do it. Go down here. I think I have used this image, of all the things that I have to help people with. And I've learned over time now that I explain this before I ever let the PC leave with the customer.
Yes.
Because
same.
if I don't, so we've talked about before, right? The keys, and messing up on setting up the Windows keys and then not being able to change the background. Before that issue, or before that became the number one reason of issues and stuff, this was the number one complaint. They would get the computer home, plug it in, and they're they are blasting me on my
30 minutes later.
Absolutely, and they're upset. They are pissed, right? I'm like, whoa. I get it, right? They're they bought something and they want it to work, so I understand. But this, and then I literally have this saved in my favorites folder in my camera on my phone, and I send this over. Sometimes I don't even have to explain. I'm just like, here you go, right?
Yeah.
Guess what happens after that?
Tracy, we're perfectly fine.
That's
Thank
right.
you. 5-star review.
Right? Oh, awesome! You're the greatest. I knew it was something I was doing wrong. I'm so sorry. I always reply like, it's okay. It happens almost all the time. And I still send this, even though now I walk the customer through how to do this before the PC ever leaves. I mean, I coach them on this. I'm like, hey, look, power supply down here. Please make sure you plug in your HDMI or display port up top. Otherwise, you're not going to get a display. And okay, here you go. You're all good to go. I appreciate your business, right? Still happens. Hey, I got no display. I'll send this picture over. Like you said, hey, 10-star review. Love you guys. Thank you. Love you so much. Awesome. Thanks for the help. Love the PC. So, but yeah, it is funny because, again, so going back to the question, right? Will it work? The answer is a little tricky, right? So the funny part is AI has it right in a sense of, yes, it can work if your CPU has the ability to have a built-in graphics. How would that work, or what would that look like, Manny? Like, do you know a CPU specifically that has built-in graphics?
I do. Ryzen 5 5600G.
That was a very popular chip that
Yes.
we both used quite a bit. So, yes. So, for those of you, okay, let's just do this, right? So, for those of you that don't know, we gotta go back here. AMD built one. They've had several CPUs that have built-in. There it is, right? Built-in integrated graphics into their CPU. Okay. Most of them are tagged with the lowercase g at the end. That's what the G stands for, right? Is the built-in integrated graphics. So, in a sense, yes, if I built my PC with the Ryzen 5 5600G, I could absolutely plug my HDMI or my DisplayPort into the motherboard, as Manny said earlier. No issues, right? Manny, if I get the 5600 though, what happens if I plug my HDMI into the motherboard?
5600 will not work. Only the G series.
Yep. You get the blank screen.
Yeah.
And that's when customers freak out and they think that they bought a bum PC and they're all pissed off until they realize they just need to move the cord down to the graphics.
Yeah.
So again, really pay attention right now. Radeon Vega. Some of you guys might be asking, like, okay, will it work? Great question for on this Wednesday. Will it work? Radeon graphics cards, or Radeon integrated graphics that are built into the CPUs, they're not bad at all. But Manny, have you ever tried gaming on one of these before?
I have actually, yeah. And I mean,
any luck, or what game did you play?
I think it was just Minecraft, to be honest with you. I mean, something very,
Yeah.
very just
Okay.
basic.
Yes.
But I mean, graphics were okay, pretty
Yeah.
decent.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's not bad. It's not
if
bad,
you're looking
right?
for just a generic, non-costly PC, I mean, the G series is the way to go. But
Yes, yes. It's pretty awesome to be honest. Like
yeah,
again, I didn't even know that that was something capable of doing it. It makes sense because a lot of laptops are originally kind of were that way, right? They had
yeah,
integrated graphics into the CPU. Now, more often, you've got some smaller dedicated GPUs for a lot of the gaming laptops, but most of it was really integrated. So pretty awesome to learn that. Again, that was something that's just over time as you built PCs, so much something we've learned. Manny, would I, if I wanted to play like, you know, competitively on Fortnite, would a 5600G by itself without a graphics card, would that be enough for me?
oh, absolutely not.
Yeah.
You definitely need a dedicated graphics card for that. Now, I mean, you can pair a Ryzen 5 5600G with a dedicated graphics card and then kind of go based off of that. But at that point, I just recommend like an X series.
Yeah. Yep. You know what? I had to know. I was curious if Intel has, if any of their graphics or if any of their CPUs have built-in integrated graphics cards. Core, Ultra Core, so i5 1400 has integrated graphics card for i5 13600.
WillitWork.
Interesting. Okay. That's interesting. So yeah, watch for the F. F is in the name such as Intel. I know what F is. There's specifically without integrate. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. That's interesting. So, like I said, so you learn something new every day. I knew that these were labeled differently. I know that they've got different codes. So an i5 11400 without the F, has integrated graphics. But if it has F, and this is what we talked about earlier, you mentioned this, right? Kind of like these were the kind of very base models.
Yep.
They do not have integrated graphics. So yet again, you would need a dedicated graphics card. Okay. You know, the KF, that's going to be your unlocked without a dedicated graphics card. So very interesting. See, I knew very simply just from AMD's because they put the G at the end, which, hey, that's a quick, easy tell of whether it's got built-in integrated graphics into the CPU. But I never really knew that about Intel. I didn't know that basically if it was missing the letter at the end, that meant that it had integrated graphics. So will it work, ladies and gentlemen? That's pretty awesome. So yes, if you want to plug in your HDMI or DisplayPort into your motherboard, yes it will, but you need a CPU that has integrated graphics card. If you're AMD, it's going to have like the G at the end of the number. If it's Intel, it's going to be basically just the number itself without the F, without the K. Man, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that. Did you know that about Intel? I had no idea.
I did not. I mean, I have had some customers who plug it into the motherboard using an Intel CPU and it worked, but now it makes sense as to why it worked.
Yeah, exactly, right, and that makes sense. So,
Yeah.
so again, that's why it's kind of tricky. The answer is yes and no, right?
Yeah.
Most of the times, most computers, most gaming PCs are built without that integrated graphics in the CPU because we know that there's a dedicated GPU. So very rarely will people spend the money to get the integrated graphics, or they're going to focus on those other ones somewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty awesome. All right, I think we're going to take a quick moment here. Manny, let's talk about our Patreon, man.
Let's do it. I'm excited. All right, so before we dive into the next round of technical requests, we want to give a quick shout out to our Patreon supporters. You might see that link flashing below or someone in the chat with a special badge. So what is Patreon and why should you consider joining?
Patreon supporters get some really cool perks. Let's break them down to see which ones work best for you. The Observer customizes the streams, perfect for those who are just watching and wish to vote on, future topics that we discuss, things like that. The Priority, an exclusive stream for this tier and higher, where you get your questions placed at the top of the list, get your questions answered. The Deep Dive, do you have in-depth questions that need answered? This is for you. It includes premium content and live Q&A. Lastly, we have the VIP. This is for our die-hard fans out there. Have you been needing some one-on-one assistance but never had any opportunity to get that? We're here for you with this. This is the ultimate tier for you.
Simply put, Patreon is how you directly support the TRL stream. If you love the stream and want to become a core part of the TRL community, check out the link in the description or just type !Patreon in the chat to see all the tiers. Thank you all for the support, whether you're donating, subscribing, or just hanging out. Now, let's get back to those next issues.
Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Let's see. Okay, man. We got some good questions today. I like those questions. All right. We got some more time on this WillitWork Wednesday. Let's see what else.
I got another one.
Sure.
So, on your power supply, this I think is a huge one. A lot of power supplies have a little button on there. Turn on, turn off. Will it work if you plug in your PC while the power supply is turned on?
Oh, okay. Interesting. So like the power supply is already turned on?
Correct.
And then you plug the power supply in?
Exactly.
Or like plug it in the wall? Oh, okay. Interesting. Let's see. Will it work if my power supply is already turned on?
And this one I feel like is one that a lot of customers don't really look into. Simply because I mean just not having that PC experience. So this one's I think is a big one to cover.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely right there. So it says no, you should not plug your power supply in while it is turned on. Yeah, that's exactly it. Those power supplies, I mean, remember, some of you guys are pushing 1,000 watts or more, from that little black box that you've got in the back of your PC. So, you definitely don't want that wattage and that power coming through instantaneously. Risk of damage, I was going to say, that's probably the primary one. Manny, is that something that you do you tell customers that? Do you tell a lot of people that to make sure they turn that switch off before they're moving it?
Every single time. Since the power supply is kind of the main, what powers your computer, you need to protect it as best as possible. So every time that I sell a computer, I always have that power supply turned off and tell the customer, do not turn this on until after you plug it into the wall. And there we go. I was going to ask if you could pull up a picture of that, which, perfect example.
Cool. Yeah, there we go. I got a question for you. And this is something, again, this is just like, it's the things we learned from just working on computers and stuff.
Yeah.
I have seen this symbol and this symbol. I mean, look, this symbol is everywhere. This is like a universal power symbol.
Right.
How do you know which one's off and on?
So, just the easy way for me to remember is O is off, and then I mean, there's really no way to say, but just as long as you remember one of them, at least you have a 50% chance to get it right.
Exactly it. Yeah, like man, for the longest time, like older cars had that, older phones had that.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you remember, right? Like, there's thank you to whoever invented the ones now, like especially the surge protectors where the light comes on when you flip it on. That's amazing. But for the longest time, I had no idea. And then I looked it up once and I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like O for off. If it's in the O position, it's off. So yeah, that's something. But to the original question, absolutely. Want to make sure you turn that off. Will it work? I mean, yes. If the switch is turned on and you plug it in, there's a pretty good chance your PC is going to work. But you do that too many times, or even as you're unplugging, right? If there's even just that little bit of short that goes through an instant in power, there's a very good chance you can damage your power supply, damage your motherboard. Remember, your RAM sticks are powered. Your graphics card has power to it. Your CPU has power to it. That's why there's these PCs and these power supplies that push so much wattage and power. These things eat up a lot of electricity. So there's a lot of voltage flying around in these PCs. You absolutely want to do it the right way. And look, when you're moving your PC, even when I demo a PC, Manny, I'm sure you do the same thing. You demo a PC and then the customer says, yep, sure, I'll take it, no problem. Then flip that switch off, unplug it, send them on their way, make sure that they understand the same thing. Plug it back in, then turn that switch on.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, it's the nice thing about the shop is that we can show them in person and show them exactly how to turn it off, because I mean, a lot of people just hit that switch, unplug it right away. Please wait a couple seconds, wait until the fans turn off, wait until it's completely powered off, and then you can safely plug it out, sorry.
So, yeah, one thing that I was looking at, right, as we've been kind of trying to develop our community here, our following with TRL and with our sponsor Glitch-On, the shop that we've got, we're going to start taking some pictures and loading some videos and stuff of the shop that we have and how it looks and stuff. It's just a custom little shop that we built, and we really want to be able to share that with you guys, get your feedback on it. We're not a studio, right? This is more of a computer shop versus anything else. So we'd love to share that with you guys and kind of show you what we do here and kind of go further from there. If you're interested or you got questions, drop them in the comments. Again, if you want to see more behind the scenes, take a look at our Patreon site.
Oh, absolutely. And that reminds me, I mean, we also have a TikTok page over there on the uh, sponsor Glitch On. So we'll definitely be making sure to post up some shop videos in there, which I mean, it looks amazing.
Looks good. Looks good. Love the lights. Everybody always compliments
the
LED lights we've got, which are pretty cool. So, what else do we've got? We got some more chats, some more things coming up here. Will it work to connect the new 144 hertz to my older graphics card? Okay, lots of stuff about HDMI DisplayPort and stuff, but okay. You know what? Let's dive into that question a little bit today, because I think that's something that a lot of people, maybe they don't understand or not aware of. I'm not even kidding you. How many questions do you get, or how many comments, or in emails, inbox messages, DMs, whatever you get, right? That are asking for, hey, I want to get 200, frames a second because I've got a 200 hertz screen, blah blah blah, or what? Like, right? They want to max out on whatever it is they can, and sometimes it doesn't sound like they know what they're talking about.
That's a fantastic question. So I guess this one's more of a little bit of, instead of will it work, it's how will it work.
That's right. Yes.
So we have two main connections, and a lot of customers, I mean, since they come from console, a lot of times they're just used to HDMI. To kind of go back to your comment, but there is a newer cord or newer out there that's a DisplayPort, and DisplayPort is actually specifically made to enhance performance, FPS, get that just the most out of your computer possible, faster speeds. So if you haven't heard of that, definitely look into that, and I think Dustin here can pull something up there to kind of differentiate it too.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was looking at, right? Was the question behind it? Does FPS work with the megahertz on your monitor? So yes, they do work together, but it's not the same thing. I think that's where a lot of people get confused, right? They're like, hey, I bought this monitor that's 200 megahertz, so I need something that's going to get 200 frames a second. That's not necessarily how it works, right? Like, you can have a PC pushing 300 and something frames per second on Fortnite and still have a 1080p resolution monitor with only 60 hertz. So or vice versa. You can have something that's pushing lower frames per second but still have a really high refresh rate on your monitor. So they work together to make a really crisp, clean, quality picture, but they're not necessarily the same thing. So Manny, that's why I wanted to pull that up and kind of take a look at. You kind of get the same, where a lot of people, they kind of challenge you on that, or they're trying to see you, like, well, how do you know that? Or I know I've been told this, and this. So yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I get tons and tons of those questions, and I feel like that's kind of a little bit of a misconception when it comes to monitors and those DisplayPort HDMI cords, is that it's at 60 hertz. So am I capped out? Well, your PC is different from your monitor in terms of what performance it outputs. The hertz, it's just simply frames, just how, I guess how quickly a bullet trajectory can be seen on your monitor. But F would be a little bit different from there.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of explained right here. It's like what we just said. If your GPU is pushing, 120 frames per second on average, that's great. For whatever game, let's say you're playing a Cyberpunk or something, that's decent, right? 120 frames a second. But your monitor is at 60 hertz. You're only gonna see 60 frames a second because of the fact of the way that the refresh rate is on the monitor. Okay, so that's what you're gonna see. It's a visual thing. However, if your GPU is only pushing 30 frames a second and you've got this amazing monitor, you're still only going to see 30 frames a second. that's what we talk about. Right? Will it work? That's why you want to match it. Man, somebody blew me away the other day, man. This guy was like, yeah, I spent like $600 on this amazing monitor. And he was rocking an RX 580,
Oh, no.
graphics card. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. Hey, look, if you're playing Roblox, no problem, right? That's great for you. But if you're doing anything beyond that, I can't see somebody playing Roblox only spending $500-$600 on an ultra OLED screen. But you never know.
Which is actually a question that I get pretty often as well. Now, I guess diving a little bit into monitors, getting a little bit away from PCs, is that there's also different resolutions of monitors. There's 1080p, there's 1440p, there's 4K. That will also affect how strong your graphics card needs to run, which ultimately affects your FPS. So kind of like how Dustin said, like if you have a amazing monitor but not a great GPU, you kind of spent more than necessary on the monitor. Just likewise, kind of in reverse. Whenever you buy both, make sure you get a good balance of either. That way you can just get the most out of your money.
So let's take a look. So that's kind of what Manny was just talking about, right? So as we get back to WillitWork, the differences between your frames per second versus resolution. So Manny just talked about that, right? So frames per second, two completely different things. Okay. Again, that's where people kind of get confused. So resolution, it's basically when you look at 1080p, that's 1080 pixels. I think it's per square. It's not per square inch. Is it per square inch?
I don't remember the lingo. Yeah, there we go. We got Google.
We got Google. Man, my mind is fried right now. So 1080p meaning, I think it's pixels. Progressive scan. Okay. 1080 line image are drawn up once. Okay, so see, I don't think it's per square inch. I think that's different. That's basically it's just there's 1080 pixels in a sense in this square spot, right? That's the resolution. Okay, so imagine you have a box and you put 1080 pieces in there, and that makes up your picture. Okay, now imagine you want to go up to, let's say 1440. So you add in 400 or so more in there to make up the picture. It's more condensed, even in that very tiny spot. So it makes your quality look so much better. But what Manny was talking about was when you kind of take a look and see your FPS versus your quality, your graphics card is putting out both. It's putting out frames per second and quality. So Manny, what would happen if I increased my resolution from 1080p to 1440? What would I expect?
So what you would expect to see is that since 1440p, it's a lot more condensed. Your PC is going to have to work harder to be able to get out the frames that is needed, the resolution, the visual that is needed on that monitor. Yep. So a lot of times, even your FPS can take a hit just simply because you have more condensed, higher resolution monitor.
Yeah, and for those of you guys that are, look. Drop your comments in the chat. Maybe you are diehard 1440. You won't go less because in this day and age, that is your definition of HD. Like you can't do anything less. If you're a fan of 1080p but just running max FPS, drop some comments on what games you play and which you like to see. So some games are it's really personal preference, but I'll be honest, some games that we play or some we've seen, they're better when your FPS are higher, but your resolution is set at 1080. Some games are designed for a little lower quality in resolution in terms of that, but they need to be run at a higher FPS. For me, I wish that I could get higher FPS on a game like Elden Ring. Elden Ring is capped at 60 FPS. In game, that's all you get. Even if you boost everything, you're not going to get anything better than 60. However, the reason that I love a game like Elden Ring though is it caps them at 60, because if you turn that bad boy and you've got a 4K monitor, oh my gosh, it looks fantastic. It is so immersive and so beautiful. Such a good picture, but it runs amazing at 60 FPS. If it were to climb up to I'm sorry, yeah, 60 FPS. If I were to try to push it over 100 or 120 or even 140 FPS, that resolution would really degrade quite a bit, and it would fight very hard to do that. But a game like that is amazing in higher resolution while running a lower FPS. Manny, what games do you play? Like, what do you normally play on? Is it, do you prefer a 1080p or a 1440, or do you prefer higher FPS? Just curious what you like.
Personally, I prefer more resolution over FPS. I mean, I do play some first-person shooters, so I mean, I definitely get where a lot of customers come from whenever they say FPS is the way to go. But I mean, I like visual. Some of the games that I play are specifically like Helldivers 2, the new Battlefield 6 that came out. I mean, those two are amazing with resolution, and I would much rather sacrifice FPS over resolution.
Well, Manny, it looks like AI has disagreed with you.
That's all right. Google's sometimes wrong.
Yeah, no. I don't think you're wrong though, right? I mean, again, beauty is in the eye of the beholder when you talk like that. But man, I'm with you. I love visually stimulating games. But according to Google and AI, especially when you're playing very competitive or fast-paced games, first-person shooting games, things like that, you got to move quickly, you got to turn quickly, things like that. It looks better when your frames per second are higher. You get less screen tear. You're not going to have as much blur and stuff. So you want higher frames per second, and your resolution turned down. I mean, look, maybe 1080p, maybe 1440p if you've got enough power. I don't know about playing FPS, or I'm sorry, first-person shooter, well, FPS, and trying to max out FPS while pushing 4K. I don't think that would be something to do. Now, on the flip side, like what I was talking about, you want to max out the resolution 4K on some of the games Manny likes to play, or the ones I like to play. And yeah, keep it down, keep your FPS around 100 or so, or down to 60 if it's capped out, but up that resolution and make those games. And then again, it even tells you right here, right? Two different reasons of why you would want to do that. FPS, competitive multiplayer games, fast-paced games. Resolution, right? Here you go. Single player, slow paced game. That's me. I'm a single player guy. Like, let me have a couple, 3 or 4 hours on Elden Ring just to, go around and try to farm some gold or some souls and go from there, man.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. I think we're about up here. We're gonna head on over to and talk a little bit about our sponsor for the evening. When you take a look at glitchon.com, this is where you want to go. Oh yeah, I changed it. There it is. Okay, cool. Yeah, so glitchon.com, right? So it's glitch-on.com. This is our sponsor. This week we're talking about the PC that's showing up right here. We talked a lot about FPS, we talked a lot about resolution. Look, we even talked about GDR5, we talked about a lot of things going on today. But this PC specifically is going to be one of the newer ones. It's a little bit more up to date. It's got the new gen CPU in it, the newest 5000 series graphics cards, right, 5060. This thing can handle for sure. When you take a look at some of the games that we've tested out with this, when we look at Cyberpunk, played some Elden Ring, look at Fortnite. Again, whether you want to get some high quality resolution out of this and play at 4K, or if you're looking to get some amazing fast-paced moves without any screen tear and have some blazing fast FPS, this is the PC that's going to do it for you.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, you can even, use our affiliate link to, purchase even some parts that are needed for even your own personal build. You can go to, as Listen said, glitch-on.com and look at whatever other products we have available as well. And a huge thing that we have also available is payment plans. I know that you didn't. Oh, actually, there we go. On the screen, you can see that payment plans available. Which, I mean, some of them are even as low as $50. So if you're needing money for, a huge monitor or keyboard, mouse, just, complete that setup, and that saves you some money just to kind of have to pay it later, which works perfectly fine. I mean, for a lot of our customers, and they love it.
Yeah, look, the holidays are here. It's tough. If you're buying a computer as a gift, or you're looking to get one for yourself, I mean, look, dropping $1,000, $1,500 on a new PC, it might be tough. So head on over to glitchon.com. They've got a couple promotions going right now. Several different payment options. You can play now, pay later, Affirm, Acima, Afterpay. They've got all sorts of different payment options that you can do there. Right now, if you go on over to the website, you can use our code to get 10% off your purchase. You get the code TRL10 off, and take a look and see what else they've got. They got some good stuff. So just want to give our shout out again to our sponsor by glitchon.com.
Oh, absolutely. Super huge. Super huge. But not to rush, but it is at the end of the hour. So just like that, the hour is up. We managed to cover several quick questions, and I hope you learned something helpful. If you didn't get your question tonight, do not panic. This is a nightly stream for a reason. TRL is back again tomorrow night at the same time, 9 p.m. Central. Load up your questions and be here early to get them pinned in the chat.
Thank you so much for tuning in and making this the best part of our weeknights. If this stream has helped you, please give the video a thumbs up on your way out. It seriously helps the channel grow. And if you haven't yet, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a chance to get your technical request answered. If you just want to send a quick one-time thank you, there's a tip donation link. It should be right in the video below. Every dollar helps us cover things like replacing aging hardware, paying for software licenses, and keeping the lights on to be here every night with you guys. There's no expectation at all, but it's always appreciated.
Lastly, if you're looking to build your PC and need new parts, using our affiliate link helps support the channel and keeps us coming back to you nightly. Keep building, keep gaming, and we will see all of you tomorrow night for the next session of Technical Request Live.
Have a good night.